Hey everybody, it is your boy, Baseman Awakens, checking in with you for the latest video on the Baseman Awakens YouTube channel. Today's topic, Black America and SHTF Part 3, the importance of having awareness, keeping your head on the swivel, and having a prepared mindset, which will allow you to overcome anything. Why am I doing this video? I just been doing a scan of all the things that have been going on in terms of our economy, in terms of the social climate, and in terms of what's been going on internationally. And I'm saying, hey, I think this is the point. We're getting close to that tipping point where something, whether it could be, the US dollar going down, terrorist attack, natural disaster, down to something as simple as Baseman losing his job, which is an SHTF situation to the person that has it. So I figured it'd be a perfect time to do a video on this topic. Now, I'm going to break the video up in two parts. First, the importance of awareness, really seeing reality for what it is. And then the second part, which is the importance of having a prepared mindset, which means that regardless of what hits us or what hits you, there would be some part of your life that's prepared to deal with it, and there'll be that springboard for overcoming and then thriving. All right, the importance of awareness, seeing reality for what it is. It's a theme that you probably heard in a lot of my videos, where seeing the matrix for what it is, and it's very important in terms of SHTF, because as I said before, SHTF can be anything that's catastrophic that affects you. And if you're able to see reality for what it is, it makes it more likely for you to either avoid that outcome, or for you to be prepared to deal with it with that prepared mindset, right? You see how it connects, right? So the truth is that most people of all races, but particularly Black people, live in a base level existence, which is they're driven by fear. They're driven by just the need to be instantly gratified, and that in itself is not necessarily a bad thing, but in the SHTF situation, that type of mentality becomes very dangerous to you, your family members, and your loved ones. And then we also got to acknowledge the fact, when we're talking about Black people specifically, the Black community as a whole is resource deficient, which means that we don't have a lot to start out with, period, right? Take a look at the unemployment situation. Take a look at the Black family, which is pretty much non-existent. Take a look at the economic base, which is also non-existent, which means that we don't control the businesses in our own communities. And that is just, the starting point in terms of awareness, taking stock of where you're starting at. And Black people, we're starting behind, right? And then we got to also take a look at, acknowledge the fact in terms of the awareness that whatever happens to America always hits the Black community the hardest. So if there's an economic recession, which there are signs that are showing that we'll be having one within the next 6 months to 1 year, then it's going to hurt the Black community more than other groups. Because why? We already have a high unemployment rate. Why? We don't have any economic base, which means we don't employ ourselves. Why? You get it. Why? Right? So taking a look what's been going on in this country, I personally believe there's going to be a severe economic recession/depression in the next 6 months to a year. Baseman is not trying to be alarmist. Baseman is not into the fear porn. Baseman is just being realistic. I don't let CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC tell me what to think. I seek out the information, and I also use my mind. I pay attention to what I see. So for example, when I'm walking home from work, there's a portion of my commute where I actually walk. I've noticed that there's been 2 straight blocks full of empty storefront. Let me put it to you another way. When I first started at my job, along that route, those 2 blocks had nothing but stores in them. There were at least 6 to 8 stores within that occupied that 2-block radius. Now it's all vacant. And no, it's not because of the internet. It's because the economy is slowing down, guys. And again, I'm not being alarmist. I'm talking about awareness. Another aspect of awareness is understanding that we live in a matrix, a constructed reality. Baseman loves to talk about it, right? But there is a benefit to understanding that we live in a matrix. Since everything is planned, the people who run this planet, this system, however you want to describe it, always tell us what's coming ahead of time. It's called predictive programming. I've talked about it in a few other videos. Guys, if you don't believe me, do your own research, which is, for example, if you notice over the last, let's say, year and a half to 2 years, a lot of movies covering a particular topic, such as terrorism, such as a natural disaster, such as rioting, such as XYZ, what more than likely than not, what the elites are trying to do is to prep your mind for what's coming. They're giving you indicators. The question is whether you're aware enough to see it of what's coming, right? And that also plays another role into this whole thing of awareness, right? Awareness is key in terms of understanding how potentially what type of SHTF situation is coming to you, whether it be on that personal level, like I was saying, unfortunately, losing a job, becoming disabled, so on and so forth, all the way up to, natural disaster, flood, hurricane, what have you. Another part of awareness is recognizing if people pay attention to you and how people pay attention to you. Personally, Baseman, I like to move in the shadows. I don't like to bring attention to myself, so I don't peacock. Dudes out there know what I mean by peacocking. I'm not the guy with the loud clothing. I'm not the guy with the Gucci shoes or whatever else. I'm not the guy with the luxury vehicle. I'm the guy that blends right in. That's the way how Baseman likes to do it, because I've come to realize by watching other people that by always attracting attention to yourself, you're doing two things. You're attracting people who want to either get some of that attention or figure out why you're getting attention. And then people are also making the assumption that you have money and they're going to want to get their hands on some of that money. And that's just in a normal situation. Now, imagine if there's an SHTF situation where, there's a natural disaster, power is out, people don't have food. They're going to come to you. Why are they going to come to you? Because you're the person in their mind that they figured you always have money. So if you have money, you have resources. So I'm going to come to you to solve my problem. In an SHTF situation, if you're not willing to solve my problem, I'm going to make you do it. And that's just the truth, guys. I'm talking about human nature here and the importance of awareness. So Baseman, I like to dress nice, but I never stand out. I like a reliable vehicle, but I don't do that luxury stuff, that luxury car vehicle stuff. I learned a hard lesson from that. So, that's just the first part of the video, which is just having that awareness, recognizing the changes that are going on around you, seeking out alternative sources of information. Because remember, guys, I don't know if you guys remember the last recession we had, which was in 2008, 2009. CNN didn't tell anybody about it. MSNBC didn't tell anybody about it. Fox News didn't tell anybody about it. However, though, if you were checking out other alternative sources, they were warning about that for about 2-3 years. The same thing in other SHTF type situations where the warnings were there, right? The warnings were there. It was just a question of whether or not you were aware enough to see it. Now moving into the second part of the video, which combined is that prepper mindset. And again, when I'm talking about having a prepper mindset, I'm not saying that you need to be digging some like bunker down in your basement or living out in the woods or own hundreds, a dozen guns and handguns and all that, because Baseman ain't doing none of that. But what I'm saying about having a prepper mindset is recognizing that every day is not going to bring more to you, right? There might be days where society, the world, is not going to offer you anything, and you have to be prepared for those days. So, for example, like when it comes to my finances, a number one priority for me is to save money. I don't have a lot of disposable income, but I make it a point to save money as much as I can. And everybody's financial situation is different. So some people have the ability to save more than others. Some people only have the ability to save a little, but it's that mindset, right? Like I make a budget. I literally, from a week before I get paid, I'm making out a budget that's going to lay out every single cent in terms of how I spend it. Yeah, it gets that deep, guys. Like I've come to realize like saving money, having a budget is so important because it takes a lot of pressure off of me. Like compare and contrast when I was still being that base man, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was living on credit cards. Yo, there's a good 5 year period of my life where literally I was less than $100 away from maxing out my credit card. That's how reckless I was living because I didn't understand the importance of managing money. And I always had that, oh, tomorrow will be another opportunity for me to make more money mindset, which may or may not be true. And there's also another way to look at saving money, investing as well, which is something I've really come to appreciate since I become awakened, right? Base man awakens. And investing is not necessarily like putting money on the stock market because most of us don't have the type of money or resources to do that. But what I'm saying is using that awareness, right? Using that awareness to see what's coming up next. For example, if you are one of the smart people who invested in Netflix when it first came out, what was that, 5 or 6 years ago on the stock market, when you could have bought it for $5 a share, now it's over $200 a share. And that's what I'm saying, like using that awareness and comparing it and then combining it with that prepper mindset, which is preparing for the future. So we all know where our society's heading, right? Everything's going to be digital. A lot of things are going to be automated. There's going to be a lot of ways to make money in that, guys. And nowadays, all you have to, and just think about it this way. What is your passion? What stores do you shop at? What services do you utilize? What apps do you have on your phone? That's what you should be researching in terms of if you can make money from it by investing in it or basically making or improving on it or doing something that's associated with it. Our society's heading in one direction, digital and automated, guys, and we got to position ourselves, i.e. prep ourselves for the future. Because if you invest properly, right, put money in the right place, right, make a new service that's going to be needed, or you can improve upon a current service, you can definitely position yourself to do well. It's capable. We're all capable of it, guys. Now, I am not a financial advisor, so I'm not out here giving any specific advice, but I strongly encourage people to look more into cryptocurrencies. Now, right now, obviously there's not much going on with them, but just thinking about where our society is headed, it makes sense that cryptocurrencies are going to be a part of it. It just makes sense. Nowadays, people don't even really want to even use their credit cards or debit cards anymore. They're using their phones to make purchases. So naturally, if you think about it from a logical or linear perspective, guess what's next? It's going to be cryptocurrencies. But the question is, which ones are going to be the ones that make it? And guess what? That's your responsibility to find out. That's the only advice I'm really going to offer here, guys. Actually, that's not advice. Just what I'm doing. I'm not offering any advice. And there's other aspects to the prepper mindset that I've come to adopt, like having extra food at home. And having extra food at home serves a number of different purposes. One, again, if a SHTF situation hits, hurricane, power outage, you won't be able to go to the grocery store because it's not either going to not be there or not be open. But let's say, for instance, worst case scenario where you do have a personal SHTF situation, which involves either you being injured or you becoming unemployed, having the extra food at home will help you as well, right? Because that's something you don't have to worry about at that moment. Because like, all right, well, I already got a couple of extra boxes of pasta, I already got a couple extra cases of, bottled water, so on and so forth. And that is something that myself and my fiance have come to implement. Like we got extra everything out in our place that we live at. We don't have that much space, but we make use of it. And last but not least, in terms of this prepper mindset is, recognizing the importance of multiple streams of income. Now, a lot of you out there already have to do that because, you got to work 2 or 3 jobs to survive. And it's not about having that extra stream of income is just a necessity. But for those who are not in that boat and you do have a good job, or you and your spouse together do make a good income, you should still be having that mindset of how else can I make more money? connects back to what I was talking about in terms of the investments, right? Like you should be thinking about and actively seeking out multiple streams of income. Even if it's only a couple $100s a month, you might not think is important, and it might not be important at that time. But if you put that, let's say $200, extra $200 a month into your savings, by the end of the year, guess how much money you have? You have $2,400. And that's a decent amount of money. You can do some things with that. So, guys, I'm going to keep this video short. And I know that I did it in a very linear mindset, a very linear way where I walked you through the importance of awareness, like seeing things for what they are, not letting the media strictly inform you, but you thinking for yourself, but also paying attention to the patterns that we see in movies and TV shows. And then also just paying attention to what's going on in our personal lives, right? Like being aware of how people view us and if we're attracting attention to ourselves. Now, I know that we live in this, social media, I need attention all the time type of environment, and I get that. But in terms of, prepping your mind for any type of SHTF situation, you don't want to be noticed. You don't want people thinking you have money, because they're going to come to you to either ask for it or take it from you. And that also goes back into that whole having that, prepped or prepper mindset, which is not about digging bunkers and having a house full of guns, but it's really about just, giving yourself that safety net, right? That safety net in terms of having savings, making a budget in terms of knowing where your money is going. Also thinking ahead in terms of the direction our society is going, which ties back into the TVs and movies, right? But like, everything is becoming digital, everything is becoming automated. And even though that does sound kind of scary, trust me, there's going to be a lot of opportunities are there for you. If you weren't, for example, if you were one of those smart people who invested in Netflix, you'd be smiling a lot. If you're one of those smart people that invested in Bitcoin in the beginning, you'll be smiling a lot too. And trust me, guys, there's going to be a lot more opportunities like those as long as we have the awareness and that prepped mindset. Guys, it was a pleasure talking to you today about Black America and SHTF Part 3. Please be on the lookout for additional videos and enjoy your day. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Baseman Awakens.